We're going to get started on our backs today. No necessary props needed for this class unless you know that you like to have extra padding for the knees or something like that. And then on your back, you can either bring your feet as wide as your mat to knock your knees in for a little more, to be a little more gentle on your back. Or if you're already feeling like you want to begin to open up the hips, you can bring the soles of the feet together, knees wide for Baddha Konasana. Wherever you want to be, you could even have your legs long if that's calling to you this morning. And then bring one hand to the heart and one hand to the belly. Gently tuck the shoulder blades underneath the back. And allow yourself to come to presence on the mat. Just notice the physical body, any sensations from crown to toes. Notice the quality of your breath this morning. Maybe you can feel your heartbeat. Or maybe you're coming to the mat so calm this morning that your breath is already deep, your body feels great, and your heartbeat is slow and steady. But wherever you are, focus just on the natural inhale and exhale. And if you're feeling like you're coming to the mat, maybe a little crazed this morning, then you can begin to slow down your breath. Inhaling to a count of 4 and exhaling to a count of 4. And if you are counting your inhales and exhales, release the count. Everyone just returning to their natural breath without too much thinking about it. And then inhale the arms up and overhead, finding the backs of the palms on the ground behind you. And allow the arms to settle down toward the earth, even if they don't touch. From here, bring the right arm out to the side in a cactus pose. And the left arm is long overhead. Really reach out through that left arm, out through the left fingertips, as if you're reaching for something just past your fingertips. You'll feel a little bit of lengthening in the left side of the body and through the arm. And then with that energy through the fingertips, just sweep that arm out and down to the side, bringing it alongside the body. And allow it to settle here. And then from here, reach out again through the arm and through the fingertips. So that movement is coming from the shoulder down the arm, reaching just past the fingertips. And then sweep the arm up and out to the side, back up and overhead. Once again, let the arms settle there. And then reach out through the fingertips, finding that long side body, energy out through the fingertips as you sweep the arm down to the side. Let the arm settle for just a moment. So release the effort in the arm. And then from here, reach out through the fingertips. So out through the shoulder. The shoulder comes away from the ear a little bit. And then bring it up maybe a couple of inches. And then reach out again through the fingertips. So it's this subtle movement. I'm going to show you from sitting up. As you move up, you'll bring the energy out the fingertips. The shoulder comes in a little bit and then out. So you're getting this little stretch through the arm, through the fingertips. Eventually, the arm will come all the way back up overhead. So I'm feeling this in my shoulder for sure. And I'm also feeling this a little bit in my bicep and out through the fingertips. But depending on if you're maybe typing all day or doing some other activity on your bike, you might feel this through your forearms. And then once you find your arm up and overhead again, just allow it to settle. Allow the effort to release. Noticing what sensations you're feeling in that arm. And then bring the left arm to cactus and the right arm sweeps up and overhead. Get really long through the right arm, feeling that slight stretch and lengthening in the right body. Reaching just beyond your grasp. And then sweep the right arm down by the side. Palm is facing up. And release the effort. Then reach that shoulder and arm away from the body, reaching just beyond the fingertips on the right side. And sweep it up and overhead. And then release the effort. And one last time, reach through the fingertips. Lengthen through the side body. And sweep the arm down to the side. And let the effort go. And then we'll take that same movement on this side. So the left arm is cactus and the right arm is out to the side in connection with the ground. And just begin to reach out subtly through the shoulder, through the arm, until that arm eventually comes back up and overhead. Notice if this side is feeling any different from the other side. And once that arm comes back up overhead, release the effort. And then bring both hands out in a cactus. If you need to change up your legs, you can go ahead and do that. And then just bring both arms up overhead in that cactus, bringing the fingertips to touch. Maybe they're a little further apart, but the fingertips are tracking toward each other. Retuck the shoulder blades underneath the body. And then really allow the backs of the arms, the shoulders to settle into the mat. And we'll be here for 10 rounds of breath. So let go of the effort in the arms, allow the gravity to just pull the body down toward the mat. Notice a slight opening in the front of the shoulders, maybe through the forearms. Just notice the sensation while you let go of the effort. And inhale and exhale naturally. And then extend the arms long overhead. Really reach out through those fingertips. And then bring them down by the sides and just sweep them out to the side a little, get them out of the way. We're gonna work with our legs a little bit. So if they aren't already, bring your feet with knees facing up, feet hips width distance apart. And then tuck the lower back and the sacrum to really connect with the mat. So there's no space in between the lower back and the mat. And then begin to lift the left leg up and just walk it toward the outer edge of your mat. And then walk the right foot toward the outer edge of the right side. And then the left foot comes back in and the right foot comes back in, making sure that you're staying connected as you take these marches from the middle of the mat to the outer edge of the mat. The back stays connected. So you should be feeling a little bit through the core here. If you're looking for a little bit more sensation, then as your leg goes to the outside, you can hug it into the body first and then sweep it toward the outer edge of your mat. Hug it in and sweep it out. So you should feel a little bit more sensation as you take these half circles in toward the body and then bring the feet back to hips width distance. All the while keeping that lower back in connection with the mat. Try to relax the shoulders into the mat, really not using much effort in the top half of the body at all. And then you can continue with either of those movements, or you can send the legs up toward the ceiling, get strong through the legs and flex through the feet, connect through the lower back no matter where you are, and then allow that left foot to come out to the side while the right sole of the foot faces the ceiling. And then allow the right foot to come out to the side, and then draw the left foot back to center and the right foot back to center. So no matter which movement you're doing, you're accessing the hips to begin to lubricate them and warm them up. And you're also using that core to keep you stable and connected to the mat. So finish the round that you're on. And then take one more full round. Left foot or leg out, right foot or leg out. And then both back to the center. And we'll all meet with the feet on the mat, knees facing the ceiling, sacrum tucked. And then from here, roll onto your belly. Send the arms out long in front of you and take a big stretch through the fingertips and through the toes. Then sweep the left arm underneath the forehead as a little pillow. The right arm can come out to the side in a cactus and get long through that left leg. So point through the toes, feel really long in that left leg. And you can keep the effort through the left leg. You'll begin to bend the right knee and bring it up toward your elbow. And then sweep it back down, long and straight behind you. Bend through the right knee. Bring it up toward the elbow, toward the armpit, and then back down. And we'll take 3 more of those, move nice and slow. So it's kind of like a half frog, but our toes are pointed here. And then in your last one, keep your leg bent up toward the shoulder, up toward the, wherever it's, up toward the elbow. And then once again, get long through that left leg. Feel the effort of the hip flexors. Just one more breath here. And then sweep the leg behind you. And bring both arms out long in front of you. Take a nice big stretch from fingertips to toes. And then draw the forearms in, coming into Sphinx pose. So elbows are just below the shoulder or a little bit in front of the shoulder. Deep back bend here. Press into the forearms, root down into the hips, and allow the gaze to be gentle in between the hands. Allow the shoulders to drop away from the ears. One more breath here. And then send the arms long in front of you. Gently rock from side to side on your hip points, just gently releasing the back. I'm gonna flip to the other side here. So this time you'll send the right forearm underneath your forehead. The left arm comes into cactus and get nice and long through the right leg. So point through those right toes. And then you can begin to bend the left leg as you bring it up toward the elbow, up toward the armpit. And sweep it back behind you. Bend through the left leg, sweeping it up toward the elbow. And then sweep it back behind you. Take 3 more at your own pace. Trying to move nice and slow here to feel the sensation through the hip. And once you find yourself on your 3rd round with the knee bent, just hold here. Feeling the effort through the right leg, long and straight. Tracking the left hip flexor down toward the mat. And then you can sweep that leg back behind you. Send both arms long, take that big stretch from fingertips to toes. And once again, rising up into Sphinx pose. So come up on the forearms, spread the fingers nice and wide. Lift out of the shoulders. And you can feel free to stay here. Or you can take the knees as wide as the mat, toes touch, and feet will likely be off the mat a little bit, unless you have extraordinary flexibility and range. And then you can begin to point the toes toward the ceiling. So the thighs are in connection with the mat, the toes are pointed toward the ceiling. And then using your strength here, you'll lift up a little bit off the mat. Thighs come up as you point the toes toward the ceiling, staying lifted out of the shoulders. And this might be just an isometric movement. You might not actually move that much, and that's okay. Just notice where that strength is coming from. You're using your core here, lower back, glutes, thighs. We'll take 3 more. And then re-extend the legs behind you, bring them back together. One more breath in Sphinx pose. And then bring yourself back into child's pose. Toes together, knees wide, glutes toward the heels. Arms nice and long out in front of you, staying active. And then we'll take a couple more small, slow movements before we get into more movement and energy in the practice. So tent the left fingertips as you twist your body to look under the left arm, keeping that right palm flat. And then flatten out the left palm. Tent the right fingertips, look under the right arm, twist through the core. And then flatten the right palm. Move from side to side a few times at your own pace. So tenting through the left fingertips as you look under the left arm. I'm really feeling this on the right side of my body as well. And then just finish the round you're on. Once you're done looking under that right arm, send both arms back out in front of you. Into the palms, come into a tabletop pose. Wrists under shoulders, knees under the hips, and give yourself a little rock from side to side. And then take an inhale to cow, and exhale to cat. And send the left leg long behind you, right arm out in front of you. We'll take a few bird dogs here. As you exhale, elbow and knee come to meet under the body. Inhale to release. Exhale, elbow and knee meet. Inhale, release. Exhale to meet. Inhale to release. Let's take 5 more here. And then we'll meet with limbs extended. Really press into that left palm to stay nice and steady. And we'll stay here for 5 full rounds of breath. Get strong through that core. And then release hand and knee back to the mat. Take 1 round of cat-cow. And then come into a neutral spine. And we'll take some flows into a modified side plank. So begin to send that right leg long behind you as the right arm comes up and overhead, bowing through the ribs to find a long side body. And then continue the arm back down, knee back down to the mat. We'll stay on the same side, so send the right leg long behind you. Arm sweeps up and overhead to bow through the ribs. And then return to tabletop. And then send that right leg long behind you. Right arm up and overhead. And then send it back to tabletop. Inhale to cow. And exhale to cat. And back to tabletop. Send the right leg long behind you. Left arm long out in front. We'll take our bird dogs on this side, and we're taking a round of 10. So as you exhale, elbow and knee meet. Inhale to release. Exhale to meet. Inhale to release. 8 more. Stay strong through the core. And once you finish your round of 8, we'll meet with limbs extended. Press into that right palm, find your center line of gravity. We'll be here for 5 rounds of breath. Stay lifted and strong. And then return to tabletop. 1 round of cat-cow. And then we'll find those supported side planks on this side. So begin to send the left leg long, left arm up and overhead, both through the ribs. And then return to tabletop. Sweep that leg back, arm up and overhead. And back down to tabletop. Last time, you can hold a little bit longer in that supported side plank, both through the ribs. And then come back to tabletop. Round of cat-cow. And then tuck through the toes. Hover the knees. We'll hold here for 5 full rounds of breath. Strong through the core. Press into the finger pads. And then press back into downward facing dog. Pedal it out or find some stillness. As we slowly wake up every inch of the body. And then send the hips high to the sky. And take tiny steps toward the top of the mat for a forward fold. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Sweep the arms up and overhead. And exhale, hands at heart center. Sweep the arms up and overhead and bend through the knees. Find chair pose. And then rise up. Exhale to chair pose. Bend the knees. See if you can sit a little deeper. Inhale, rise up. Exhale to chair pose. Inhale to rise up. 2 more. Exhale to chair pose. And rise. Last one. Rise up. Bring the hands to heart center. Bend through the knees 1 more time. And then send the right leg long behind you. Sweep the arms up and overhead for a high lunge. From here, begin to bend the right knee. Hover it above the mat. And rise. Hover and rise. Hover and rise. 2 more. We'll meet in high lunge here. And then bring the hands to heart center. Sweep the right leg forward, meeting in chair pose. And then release the arms up and overhead. Exhale the arms down by the side, mountain pose. Inhale the arms up and overhead. Bend deeply through the knees, chair pose. Inhale to rise. Exhale to sit. Inhale to rise. Exhale to sit. Inhale to rise. Exhale to sit. 2 more. Sitting in that chair pose, bring the hands to heart center and sweep that left leg long behind you. High lunge, bring the arms up and overhead. And then bend the knee to hover and straighten. Hover and straighten. 3 more. Meeting in high lunge. Bring the hands back to heart center. Sweep the left leg forward, chair pose. And then release the arms up and overhead. Sweep the arms down to the side, mountain pose. Inhale, the arms up overhead. Exhale to swan dive forward, plant the hands, step back into plank pose. 5 breaths here. And then press back into downward facing dog. Take tiny steps toward the top of the mat. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Sweep the arms out to the side, up and overhead. And exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale the arms out and up. Exhale the swan dive forward. Step back into plank pose. 3 breaths. And then lower the knees down. Chest and chin. Float forward into baby cobra. And exhale back, downward facing dog. Step, hop, or float your way to the top of the mat. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Arms out to the side, up and overhead. And exhale, hands to heart center. Sweep the arms out and up. Hinge at the hips to swan dive forward. Step back into plank. 5 breaths again. And then flow through your vinyasa. Back to downward facing dog. And from here, float forward into plank pose. Bend the knees to hover the knees above the mat. And straighten. And hover. And straighten. 3 more. Meeting back in plank pose. And then press back into downward facing dog as you sweep your right leg back behind you. Bend the knee to open the hip. And then send that leg back behind you, 3-legged dog. Step the right leg in between your hands and lower the left knee. Untuck the toes and sweep the arms up and overhead. Open the arms wide, twisting toward the right leg. And then sweep the arms back up and overhead. Sweep the arms over toward the right leg, nice and long. And then arms back toward the ceiling. One last time, sweep the arms over into a T. And from here, maybe bend the left leg and reach for the foot. No pressure to get there. Release the foot if you have it. Sweep the arms back up and overhead. And exhale to reframe that front foot. Tuck the left toes. Plant the left palm. Right arm floats up to the sky. Exhale to release. And step the left foot forward to meet the right. Forward fold. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Sweep the arms out and up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, arms out and up. Hinge at the hips, fold forward. From here, to step the right foot back and then lower the right knee. Release the toes and sweep the arms up and overhead, finding this supported low lunge. You can always keep the hands on the thighs, or if you have blocks, you can use those too. And then from here, twist open toward the left leg. And sweep the arms back up overhead. Twist open toward the left leg. Sweep the arms up and overhead. And then one more time, sweep the arms open toward the left leg. Maybe bend through the right leg. Reach for the right foot. Release the foot if you have it. And arms sweep back up overhead. Then reframe that front foot. Tuck the right toes. Plant the right palm. Left arm floats up to the sky. Reframe the front foot. And sweep the right leg forward to meet the left. Forward fold, grab opposite elbows. Ragdoll here. Release the fingertips back to the mat. Inhale to halfway lift. And exhale, fold forward. Bend through the knees, sweep the fingertips up and overhead. Chair pose. Inhale to rise. And exhale to sit. See if you can sit even deeper. Inhale to rise. Exhale to sit. 3 more. And then sit back into that chair pose. Inhale to rise 1 more time. And then swan dive forward, hinging at the hips. Plant the hands, step back into downward facing dog. Inhale the right leg back up behind you. And exhale to step it through in between your hands. Okay, keep that left leg really strong and straight. Root down into the right foot. Sweep the right arm up to the side. So you've been here before, gentle twist, super familiar. Then you'll begin to, as if someone is pulling your hand up toward the ceiling, you'll begin to hover the left fingertips. Use your core, slowly rising up until you come into this twisted lunge. And sweep the arms up and overhead. We'll do that a couple more times. Reframe the right foot. Strong through the legs. Right arm floats up to the sky. Use your core, use your legs to rise up as slowly as you can. Beautiful. Sweep through the arms. We'll do that 1 more time. Frame the right foot. Right arm goes up to the sky. And then begin to hover. Use your body, use your strength, and rise up. Beautiful job. Sweep the arms up and overhead. And then reframe that right foot. Step back into downward facing dog. And float forward into plank pose. 5 rounds of breath here. And then optional vinyasa of your choice. We'll meet back in downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, sweep the left leg back behind you. Open up the hip here. And then re-extend that leg and step it in between your hands. Readjust as necessary, maybe scooting the right toes back a little bit. Or if you felt super wobbly on the first side, you can take your feet a little wider apart on the mat. Then plant the right palm, left arm floats up to the sky, and slowly using your strength, rise up, arriving in this twisted lunge. Sweep the arms forward, and then reframe the front foot. Move through that 2 more times at your own pace, moving as slowly as you can, keeping your balance, finding grace through this strength. And when you're ready, reframe the left foot. Step back into plank pose, 5 rounds of breath. And then optional vinyasa. Meet back in downward facing dog. And then spread the knees wide, toes together, child's pose. Allow the hips to sink back toward the heels. Arms out in front, or you can sweep them by the side. Then press into the palms. Tuck the toes, downward facing dog. Press the belly back toward the thighs. Find this pouncing position, and then pounce toward the top of the mat. Forward fold. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Sweep the arms out to the side, up and overhead. Keep the arms up and overhead here. And then begin to bend over toward the right. Find that crescent shape in the side body. Gaze can go toward under the left arm or down toward the ground. And then come back through center and find that shape toward the left. Back up toward the center. One more time to each side. And then back to center. Sweep the arms down by the side. And vertebrae by vertebrae, just roll forward until you find yourself back in that forward fold. Really slow. And then allow yourself to hang here, releasing all effort from the fingertips and arms. The head can hang heavy. Inhale as you roll back up, vertebrae by vertebrae. Arms are heavy, head rises last. And then once again, you can sweep the arms up and overhead as you bend through the knees, chair pose. Really engage through the glutes, sit a little bit lower, shine that heart forward. We'll be here for just a couple more rounds of breath. Sink a little bit deeper. You can do this. And then rise up. Hinge at the hips, forward fold, plant the hands, plank pose. Optional vinyasa. We'll meet back in downward facing dog. And then inhale the right leg back up behind you. Exhale to step it in between the hands. Plant the left palm, right arm floats up to the sky. One more time, we'll find that super slow rise to our twisted lunge. And then sweep the arms up and overhead and open up into warrior two. Back foot is flat, front heel intersects back arch. And then flip the right palm up, sweep it forward, reverse your warrior. Exhale to side angle. Inhale to reverse. Exhale to side angle. Inhale to reverse. One more round. And then we'll meet back in warrior two. And then bring all 10 toes to face the side of your mat. Maybe take your stance a little bit wider. Hands to your hips and hinge at the hips to fold forward here. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders and give the hips a little rock from side to side. And then begin to walk your hands over toward the left as you bend your left leg, right toes go up toward the sky. And then walk it over toward the left, just reversing that movement, left toes toward the sky. Move from side to side, or feel free to hold in any spot that feels particularly good. The next time you find yourself over toward the left side, over toward the right side, sorry. You're gonna frame that right foot, come back into your low lunge, and then sweep the right foot behind for three-legged dog. And then just step back into downward facing dog, pedal it out. Inhale the left leg back up behind you. Exhale to step it in between your hands. Get strong through the legs. Left arm floats up to the sky and slowly, slowly rise up into that twisted lunge. Find your balance. And then sweep the arms up and overhead, high lunge. And sweep them open into warrior two. So make sure your alignment is correct. Heel intersects back arch. Flip the left palm, sweep it forward, reverse your warrior. Sweep it back forward, side angle. Reverse your warrior. And side angle. And reverse. And take one more full round. We'll meet back in warrior two. And then send all 10 toes to face the other side of your mat. And then begin to sink down toward that right foot to start. Left toes point toward the ceiling. So taking that same move, this time if you want to maybe try to find some balance as you move from side to side as a little bit of extra challenge. Holding in any spot that feels like it needs it. And the next time you find yourself framing that left foot over toward the left foot, you'll frame it. Find yourself in that low lunge. And then sweep the left leg behind you and release it back into downward facing dog. Last option for a vinyasa here. And then bring your belly toward your thighs. Pounce forward and sit down on your tush. Bring your feet together for Baddha Konasana and get some flesh out of the way in the back if you need to. And allow the knees to just track toward the mat. We'll find a forward fold here. So you can either just hinge at the hips, bringing the fingertips out in front of you, stay rooted through the sits bones. Or if you like that compression that I do frequently, you can bring the forearms underneath your ankles or calves and let the head hang heavy. Wherever you are, getting that final stretch in the hips, inner and outer. And round through the spine wherever you are to rise up. Nice and tall here. And then bring the legs to cross. Or one leg in front of the other, whatever is feeling good to you today. And bring your arms up and overhead as if you're holding this big beach ball. Long through the spine. Fingertips can just gently touch. And then bend over toward the right. As you sweep that beach ball around in front of you, you'll really round through the spine and then sweep it over toward the left, finding that side body stretch, and then bring it back up and overhead. So bend over toward the right, round through the spine, and sweep it back up over the left, bringing it back up and overhead. So just getting these final creaks out of the spine, really loosening it up and lubricating it in every direction. Take one more sweep over toward the right. And then bring that beach ball up and overhead. Switch the cross of the legs, and we'll go the other way. So bend, get nice and tall through the spine, rooted through the sits bones. Bend over toward the left, and then round through the spine to bring that beach ball out in front of you, and back up and overhead. So just moving at your own pace. Feel the vertebrae in your spine. I can still hear some cracks in mine, even after this hour-long practice. And take one more. And sweep the arms down by the side. You can tent the fingertips, but keep the shoulders rolled back away from the ears. And just drop the cheek over toward the left shoulder. Oh, that feels so good. You close your eyes, tap into that sensation. And sweep the head forward, chin drops toward the chest. And then the right cheek drops toward the right shoulder. Stay nice and tall. And slowly bring the head to rise. You can bring the eyes to open if you closed them. And then just move the head from side to side. Bring the head back to center when you're ready. And just swing your legs around. We'll end on our back. Knees bent. Just hug the knees into the chest. Give yourself a big hug. Rock from side to side. And then any final shape or pose that's calling to you. Maybe it's a happy baby to get into those hips a little more. And actually, we have slightly more time than I thought we did, so let's all meet in happy baby. Just allow gravity and the weight of your hands to pull your thighs toward the outer edge of your ribs. And then bring the knees and feet back together. Release the feet, bring the arms down to the side, palms face down, tuck the shoulder blades underneath you, and flex through the toes so that the soles of the feet face the ceiling. And you can either stay here, or you can begin to take that move that we did at the beginning of class. So bring the right leg out first this time, keeping the sacrum tucked on the mat, and the left leg out, and the right leg in, and the left leg in. Just moving from side to side. And then everyone will meet with their legs long, soles of the feet facing the ceiling. And then bring the right sole of the foot down to the mat. See if you can keep the sacrum tucked. Left sole of the foot down to the mat. Bring the feet in close enough that you can almost tickle them with the back of your foot, back of your fingers. And we'll take one dynamic bridge here. Inhale to rise, arms come up and overhead, stretching through the belly. We did so much work in the belly today. Allow this to be a really gentle bridge. And then exhale, slowly lower down. And now, if there's any final pose that you'd like to take, or if you'd just like to enter Shavasana, do whatever your body is calling for. We have a couple minutes to fully release here in Shavasana. So once you've found your setup, begin to allow the eyeballs to relax in the socket. Allow the jaw to fully release and relax. Shoulder blades are gently hugged under you, allowing the heart to shine out into the world. Hips are relaxed. Legs take up their space, and then release any effort. And allow the feet to roll out to either side. Begin to bring some awareness back to your breath and some movement back to your fingertips and toes. Send the arms long overhead and the feet toward the bottom of the mat. Take a nice big stretch here. And then feel free to take any other movement that your body is calling for. When you're ready, roll to one side. And eventually we'll meet back in a seated position with hands at heart center. And we'll take 3 final deep inhales and open mouth exhales together. As you inhale, you'll sweep the arms up and overhead. As you exhale, open mouth, the hands will come back through heart center. So inhale. Last one.